Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of Squaring the Circle debate of 2021. The motion to be debated tonight is universities that want to be globally relevant must teach in English. My name is Mandy Mock, and I'm the founder and CEO of Applied HE. Applied HE is the new kid on the block with the aim of creating an alternative solution in ranking, rating, and branding that better serves the need of more learning and employability-focused applied universities, which I believe are dominant all over the world. In a nutshell, Applied HE is an international higher education service provider that specializes in evaluation, branding, marketing, and professional networking solutions. The Squaring the Circle debate is presided over by our legendary debate master, Dr. Kevin Downing, who is the Secretary to Council in Court and Director of the Institutional Research Office of City University of Hong Kong. Thank you very much, and thanks also to our speakers from the United States, Indonesia, the United Kingdom, and Malaysia. Kevin will provide you with a full introduction of the speakers shortly. We're also pleased to note that Dr. Kevin Downing, the chair of Applied HE's Rankings Advisory Board, has published a new book about rankings, the impact of higher education ranking systems on universities. The book can be ordered now via the link here or on Google Books. Right, I shall hand the stage now to Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you, Mandy. I like that introduction. Mandy Mock, the founder and the CEO of Applied HE. I'm Kevin Downing. I'm the founder and CEO of nothing. But I'm really happy to be chairing this debate. Those of you that have been before know that we treat it seriously, but we have a bit of fun. Let me just give you an introduction to our illustrious panel of debaters first and foremost, and I hope to meet many of the participants later during the comment session. So first of all, let me introduce an old friend. I'm tempted to say very old friend, but he wouldn't like that. From Asia University in Taiwan, but actually currently residing in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. I'd like to introduce you to Professor Peter Chang, who will be proposing the proposition before us tonight. So Peter, welcome. Lovely to see you again.
Kevin, friends. Yes.
Nice
Very
to see
nice to talk with you.
Good to see you looking so well. And then I would like to introduce you next to the person who will be seconding, if you like, but also proposing our proposal. And that's Dr. Abdullah Helmi, who's from Polytechnic Negeri Malang in Indonesia, who's dressed wonderfully with a rather incongruous Japanese background, but nonetheless very beautiful. Helmi, welcome. Lovely to have you on board.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. And then we're going to fly very quickly with no COVID checks, no tests, no PCRs, no quarantine. We're going to Charlene, who's in the UK, where I think it must be approaching lunchtime. And yeah, really, Ms. Charlene Allen from Red Emerald in the IC Global Partnership in the UK. Charlene, it's really lovely to see you again. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Great. Thank you very much. And can I borrow some of your hair? Is that all right?
Yeah, it's plenty of it.
And then last but not least, another old friend, but not so old, my friend and colleague from Malaysia. Please give a warm welcome to Prof. Shamim Rafiq Galea from Sega University and Colleges in Malaysia. Hi, Shamim.
Everyone. Hi, Kevin. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Good. Okay, guys, now if I can get my head around the technical parts of this, the way we start, first of all, the topic to be debated, I think, is a really interesting one. and quite controversial in some ways, particularly in Greater China area right now, is that universities that want to be globally relevant must teach in English. I think it's controversial because I think the most widely spoken language in the world is Spanish, not English, or so I'm told. Some of you may want to disagree and prove me wrong with that. But universities that want to be globally relevant must teach in English. We all know the importance of the English language in scientific research, international business, diplomacy, and the growth in international student faculty mobility has led many universities to develop English taught programs. Whilst that's going on, there are other universities in parts of the world that are dropping English in favor of Putonghua or Chinese or Spanish or other languages. English language obviously poses challenges for students and faculty, even here in Hong Kong. And the dominance of the English language is seen to favor certain countries. And as an editor of a Scopus listed journal, I can tell you the number one reason for desk rejection is usually English grammar, which is sometimes a great pity because from what you can make out from the content, some of the articles are very worthwhile. So the way the debate goes is as follows. Pay attention, panelists. The way the debate goes is as follows. I will initially go to our participants because they're the most important people in this debate. And I will ask them and you to vote for or against the motion that universities that want to be globally relevant must teach in English. I will give you 1 minute once I open that polling. You'll see two radio buttons. You agree or disagree. Click on the one you think is right. Please don't spend too long over it. It's not a difficult question in that sense. Then what I will do is I'll share the results after that minute with everyone. So you'll see whether it's the proposers or the opposers who have an uphill struggle. One of the things I should say right from the outset is that this is an academic exercise. So first of all, you will notice that it is male versus female. That, I'm afraid, was purely accidental, not at all deliberate. I can attest to the English language skills of both Charlene and Shamim. So they may not necessarily be arguing from a viewpoint that they agree with. Likewise, for Peter and Helmi, they may not necessarily be arguing from a viewpoint that they agree with. But let's see how good they are at persuading you to change your mind. And also, participants, be aware of this. I used to believe that academics were amongst the most open-minded people on our planet. Let's see whether you can prove me right by changing your mind between the pre and the post vote tonight, or whether I'm going to be confirmed in my position that we're quite fixed in our views in a very fuddy-duddy sort of way. So there's a challenge to everybody. This is the order. In a moment, I will hand over to Peter to propose, and Peter will have 5 minutes with no visual aids. Don't go holding up any paper or pictures, Peter. No visual aids at all to make the case for the motion. I will then go to Charlene. So we're going to come from Vietnam to the UK, and Charlene will have the opportunity to make the case in 5 minutes with no visual aids against the motion. I will then return to the male side of the fence, this time to Indonesia, where I assume it's Indonesia, although that's a very Japanese background, to Helmi, who will have 5 minutes, no visual aids, to make his case for the motion. And then finally, Shamim, you always have the last word. I'm going to come to Shamim, and Shamim will have the last word on behalf of the opposition. One more little rule, participants. panelists, you will have a bell which will be rung by Peter. Can we hear it, Peter? He's scrabbling around on the floor for the bell now. Anyway, after 4 minutes, we'll give him 4 minutes to find the bell. He will ring the bell. That is to tell you you have a minute left. And this is the bit I like. If you haven't finished on 5 minutes, I can mute you. The power, it's amazing. So you guys who know me know that I will be smilingly ruthless at actually doing that on the dot of 5 minutes. The reason for that is, well, the official reason for that is that it keeps it fair for everyone. The unofficial reason for that is it's great fun. Okay, so that's my rundown of how we're going to approach this. So incidentally, when our 4 speakers have finished, you'll notice 4 times 5 is 20, just 20 minutes. I will be going to you participants, and you'll find that there's a little button at the bottom that says raise hand. Raise your hands and I will come to you in turn. And all I want you to say is who you are, where you're from, and then you've got roughly 10 sentences to make your point for or against the motion. Okay, I want lots of activity from the participants. So make sure you start raising your hands even while they're speaking. I promise I will get to you as soon as the panelists have finished. So I think that's fairly clear, apart from Peter not being able to ring the bell. Find the bell, Peter. No, he still hasn't found it.
Oh.
Did you have a little nap then for a moment?
Yeah, you can hear it now, right?
Yeah, that's good. Okay, guys,
great.
That's what the bell sounds like. Nice to have you back with us, Peter. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over without further ado to Professor Peter Chang from Taiwan, but currently in Vietnam, speaking on behalf of the motion, universities that want to be globally relevant must teach in English. You have 5 minutes, Peter, beginning now. And Peter's timing you, the other Peter.
Thank you, Kevin, and all friends. It's pretty interesting, exciting moment to join you here. Well, first reason for having English, we got a COVID, we got a virus. We have to name it, right? We cannot name it other ways. So now we call it SARS-CoV, and there's no other translation. I see in Chinese language newspaper or in whatever language, there's only COVID. Even in Vietnam, English is not so much popular in Vietnam newspaper or Vietnamese, but you read COVID-19. So I think that you talk about the pandemic is really giving us a good chance to consider how can we communicate better. We are having big problem regarding communication between us. Even we are having quite civilized. We have a World Trade Organization. We have all this rule, but we are still missing behind the virus because now they have more variant. Now you have an alpha, beta, and now it is something else. I think for other language to catch up is too late. We are having no problem. We are having no problem to call it COVID-19 without any big problems. So I see that scientifically, well, COVID may have to teach us more about that. Well, I have to tell you a little bit about, even I'm now working in Saigon, and I been many years in Taiwan's universities, and also working in Boston, which I'm across the continent. I don't have to change my language of education and teaching very frequently. I find as a practitioner of being a teacher, English is much more easier to handle. Even my English is not a native language. I speak Mandarin a little bit better than my English, but I see from my experience through the continent, even I worked in Romania and Belgium before. I speak a little bit of French and a few German after the beer. And I see that English is much more popular, well accepted. No one against teaching in English. Now, 10 years ago, I was the first one, actually, a faculty that proposing that university have to teach English. I think Taipei Medical University, you visit there before, was one of the champion to bring English to our courses. And now I have a lot of students from Indonesia, in Semarang. I have a student from Hanoi. Fortunately, English has been a common language for us. I know some of audience now, they are from Vietnam. Now tonight join us. I cannot work with them by other language. There's only one is English. Not because I know only English, I know other language better, but I see English is popular. And now really in Taiwan, many universities starting pulling into English teaching. And I talk politically and more seriously. I learned in 2030, all the nation, the language will be Chinese and the English. So in Taiwan, for all those people coming to Taiwan to learn or doing business, or you want to buy something, or you want to get a big project from government, or you want to work in Taiwan, whoever, English would be essentially important, even more important than Chinese. So I see that this is going to, we are not the first one like Singapore or like Malaysia, Indonesia. We are not so good in this, but I see in university in Taiwan and students, they are going very much in that direction. I also learned today that high school and elementary students are now encouraged to link in with English teaching schools. I mean, next year, probably kindergartens through internet education exchange program with many other countries. And I see if Taiwan can do that, many other countries like you should be able to do it. And well, maybe to wrap up, I see it's a much practical skill, the tool that university have to reach out. We cannot just be writing SCR article, but we have to go to the community. And English is certainly not within the tower, the ivory tower. English is the tool. It's a much easier tool. Happily, someone make it easier for us, like a Kevin. And so I think that we should take advantage of this tool. And all the university, including our neighbors, can find this is very practical and easy to use, just like we call it COVID. We don't debate on what are the names of the virus. We just call it COVID. I don't know if it's English or not, but it looks like COVID-19, which we know very well. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. Very passionate exposition of the motion. The only thing I disagree with is they don't speak English in Singapore, they speak Singlish. Actually, there's one of my friends, Amanda's friends, Professor Kingsley Bolton, he edits a journal called the Journal of World Englishes. And it's very interesting, the different types of English that can be spoken around the world and yet understood by everyone from all those different areas. Thank you very much for that. Very interesting, and you kept well within time. So I'm very grateful. So I'm sure Charlene is grateful too. So we're now flying all the way to the UK. And Charlene, you've got 5 minutes to speak for the opposition, beginning now.
Great, thanks, Kevin. Well, universities that want to be globally relevant must teach in English. Is that at all levels of study, undergraduate, postgraduate? Is that PhD level? And what does it really mean to be globally relevant for universities? There are so many questions around this statement, you must already start to wonder whether you agree with it or not. Yes, my opponents may try to convince you that in order to be globally relevant, you need to attract researchers and international students, which in turn means you must teach in English, but I would suggest otherwise. Yes, English is now the global language of business, and universities are in many countries effectively a big business. Some companies globally have mandated English as the common corporate language in an attempt to facilitate communication and performance across globally diverse functions and business endeavours. And we can see the parallels perhaps with universities when it comes to their international activities, such as collaborations like mergers and acquisitions require integration across national and international boundaries, and clearly communicated negotiations. There's student and staff mobility, where English language delivered courses can support this activity, as well as international student recruitment, of course. And then you have research development. And although there are positive reasons for mandating English as the language of delivery for certain or all courses, or introducing an English-speaking global language policy at a university, and we may accept, as Peter mentioned, English speaking is the language of business and science, it comes with its challenges too. And one of them is the negative impacts of teaching in English, is the potential decline in scholarship in the said country's own language. Other challenges introducing or deciding to teach in English can be met with resistance from academic staff, as they feel by having to deliver in English, it puts them at a disadvantage because their level of English may not be as good as others. Team dynamics and performance can suffer, and sometimes national pride can get in the way. If you have poor performance from your researchers and teaching staff, can you really be globally successful and therefore relevant? If it comes with so many challenges and met with reluctance and skepticism, why do universities teach in English? The answer is not because they want to be globally relevant, but it's usually because of the course in English. Of course, English is their lingua franca of their country. Others do it because they see it as an opportunity to attract a wider range of students, and they feel it strengthens their offer to those students who believe studying in English will make them more employable. Of course, global learning is important, and these courses taught in English can help. It can help students learn to appreciate diverse perspectives, understand connections to the wider world, and use disciplinary and interdisciplinary knowledge to investigate and take action on issues that matter to them. It can lead to student outcomes such as student engagement, career readiness, social and emotional learning, and student empowerment. That said, research shows that at the undergraduate level, at least, you have to learn academic discourse in your mother language first in order to really understand the workings and the details. It shows that content of lessons are better understood by students when teaching is interpreted into their language by an interpreter, as opposed to listening directly to the original in English. And most importantly, the research shows teaching given in the local language by a local native teacher has greater effectiveness in communication terms. The question is whether students are concentrating on learning the academic subject or improving their English. In the end, what matters most in the job market are their technical skills acquired by students, and these are best acquired through their mother tongue. Learning in English in a country whose first language isn't English also doesn't allow them to find employment in that country. To add to this, statistics show in several countries, international students often return to their home country to work, and therefore their original language and their understanding of technical language in their mother tongue is important. So there are reasons for and against teaching in English, but the question is, does it make a university globally relevant? What does it mean to be globally relevant for universities? Some might suggest that the global rankings could be used to decide how globally relevant a university is. Universities are often obsessed with their position in the rankings and put such importance on this that sometimes they develop their strategies to improve their position. So if this is the way of measuring their global relevance, let's just take a closer look at the indicators. The first, teaching, reputation, student-staff ratio, income. Second, research, again, reputation, income, productivity. Thirdly, citations. Fourth, international outlook. And fifth, industry income. So although as part of the international outlook, the number of international students is a measurement or an indicator which is likely to mean universities want to teach in English to attract and recruit those students, it only counts for 2.5% of the overall score. I would argue teaching in English has very little impact on the indicators in those rankings, and therefore is not necessary in order for a university to be globally relevant. For those who say rankings shouldn't be used to decide global relevance, and suggest perhaps that helping to solve global issues is a better way to ensure an institution is globally relevant, which I would also agree with, then as mentioned before, it's scholarly knowledge, the understanding and the technical detail that will help to contribute to this cause. And this is better achieved when students study in their own language. So by all means, offer teaching in English. It enables students from across the world to study in another country, which brings about huge social and economic benefits and develops students as individuals. But I don't believe by doing so makes the university globally relevant for all the reasons I've mentioned.
Thank you, Charlene. Judging from Peter's bell ringing, then a groan, He was having trouble with the technical aspects of bell ringing. We feel for you, Peter. Okay, guys, so I think that was a very passionate and well-supported argument against English. Just before we go to Helmi, I just want to get people thinking about other potential languages, and I don't mean that in a literal sense. Just tell you a very short story. Many years ago, I was working in Russia, and I'm not very good at maths, and I had a problem with a formula. I just couldn't understand it and what it meant. And I'm talking to this young PhD maths student from a Russian university. I have, please, thank you, hello, yes, and I'll have a white wine, please, is all my Russian. His English was even less. And he had this brainstorm. He went to the board and he started writing a formula and then put a question mark. Then I wrote the formula I was having difficulty with and put a question mark over the bit of the formula that I was having trouble with. And within about 10 minutes, he'd answered my question. One, because he was a far better mathematician than me, but also because he was very smart. He realized that mathematics is a language too. And I would also say you could apply that to music, something which I'm a little better at than I am at mathematics. So, you know, there are other languages other than what we would regard as, you know, the sort of mainstream idea of what a language is. With that, that's just to provoke a little more depth to our discussion. I'm going to move to Helmi, who's going to speak for the motion. Helmi, 5 minutes from now.
Thank you, Peter. Well, that's an interesting brief story of you, Peter, about the math, because it's really technical and very special. So it could connecting people, like one of the brand of the cell phone long time ago, connecting people. But we cannot avoid that English is a global lingua franca. Most people don't speak it, sure. And there are other languages doing the words. But English is indisputably the only truly global, or at least the most global language, I think. English is the third most commonly spoken native language, and by far the most economically, culturally powerful and considered one. The combined influence from some country of the US, UK, or Canada, or Australia, and New Zealand make it an extremely salient choice of language for people who have need or desire for broader communicative sphere. And also, I think universities and schools across the globe are offering an increasing number of courses taught in English. This is also happening in my country as well, because in Indonesia, for example, in my university as well, we have an international class with a student from different background, from different countries, from Sudan, from Asia, from Africa. And they are, mixed with our Indonesian student. But however, I mean, the teachers, the lecturers, use English in class, including, to our Indonesian student. Parents and politicians alike are pushing for this change, as English as considered a worldwide language of opportunity in education and business, I think. In some research so far believe that English can improve communication, help the exchange of ideas, and create relations between countries. And they see English in the classroom as a way of facilitating world peace. I think it's happening right now. Home students benefit from a language which opens doors and enables them to move globally in academic and business. teachers are also internationally mobile, and this creates opportunities for them to teach abroad. As Charlene mentioned, that do like the secondary school or need English basic, but they still, I think, they still need to be taught basic English, even in English-speaking country. So what about in other country, which is not a mother tongue, English as a mother tongue? So I think if we want to be recognized internationally, like in Indonesia, I give my own country, we have a lot of potential lecturers, teachers, students who have such special competency. Yeah, they are very good, but they cannot compete internationally. How do they can compete internationally? Like even though if they have a competition, robotic competition or other competition in South America, like Brazil, yeah, even though in France, in Paris, how do they connect? How do they speak, communicate? It's in English. Yeah, it's a global, worldwide, still significant worldwide language, considered as worldwide language. Therefore, English still, I mean, it is still significant to be taught in other countries, mostly in the international class, or even if it is in regular class as well, for all students to be mastering in English from basic to intermediate, in advance also, yeah, not only for the student, but also for the teachers.
Ding, ding.
Yeah.
Okay, Helmi.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Helmi. Well done. You did use up all your time. That's absolutely fine with us. For some reason, you've gone crazy on your screen now. Something to do with that background, I think. Oh, that's better.
Sorry.
I think the old samurai got in there or something. Anyway, guys, without further ado, incidentally, I'll be running the first poll after the 4 panelists. So the job of persuading people to change their minds is down to the participants, which will be very interesting. Without further ado, I'm going to our last but not least speaker, speaking alongside Charlene. For the girls, for the ladies, you're actually opposing the motion. Shameen, your 5 minutes starts now, so you better put that cup of coffee down.
Good. Thank you. Universities that want to be globally relevant must teach in English. I oppose the motion. You don't have to teach in English to be globally relevant. Nations have their own language, planning policies, and their own national language. English is the language of British imperialism. So we're talking about linguistic imperialism. Sorry, guys. And well, while English is recognized as an official language in a total of 67 countries, as well as 27 non-sovereign entities, let's take a quick look at the historical aspect and the events at the use of English or any other European language in the world. Now in Europe, most of the universities used to teach all subjects in Latin rather than their own vernacular language. And the use of Latin may have been as a result of knowledge which was inherited, handed down from the Romans, and only available within the Christian church. Also perhaps to keep control of the knowledge and to keep it elitist, if you like. Now, it was during John Amos Comenius, who is considered as the father of modern education, that is the pedagogy approach for teaching, who advocated the use of the vernacular language instead of Latin to teach children in order to expand and share knowledge and not to keep it among the elite. So my point here, historically, by virtue of the British, Spanish, French, and Arabic domination of various countries, each country left the imprint of their language around the world, right? And however, we have non-English speaking countries in Europe, such as France, Germany, Russia, and the likes, and Japan, Korea, and Thailand, where scientific, engineering, technology, and business matters are conducted in their own language. One is comfortable with your own home language. You express yourself well in your home language, not in another person's language. Fine. Talking about globalization ranking comes English as the so-called lingua franca around the world. I can go and study in France, in Spain, in Germany. I acquire their languages. I function in their language. I am international. I am internationalizing. I don't need to use English. Right? I can write in another language and produce my scientific results or my business report in my own country's language. So you find that published contribution to research in non-English language as numerous as any other publication in English. And for comparison between English and non-English speaking countries, we have the Nobel Laureates. The Nobel Laureates have published a lot of work in their own language, not in English. For example, Germany has 109 Nobel Laureates, France, 71, Sweden, 32, Russia or the Soviet Union, 31, Japan, 28, Switzerland, 27, and of course, the United Kingdom, 134. Maybe more now, I'm not sure, but still, you can see that you have a lot of work that has been done in English. So it doesn't in other languages, sorry. So engaging in one's own language apart from English does not equate as lowering the quality of education, and it does not equate as not being internationalized. So my final note, remember Einstein? He published his theory of relativity in German and not in English. And everyone knows it. My last note, thank you.
Thank you very much, Sumin. That explains why I don't understand it, no matter how hard I try. Maybe the translation was bad. I love the use of English from Peter, though. I think that actually caps the whole debate. He couldn't ring the bell because his microphone is voice activated, so he says ding, ding. Wonderful. Anyway, I'm now going to launch the poll. So please, participants, this is where you get a chance to vote, and panelists, please. You can vote against yourself, of course, if you're very free-minded. But I would like you now, you've got 1 minute to vote for or against the motion. You should start to see it on your screen now. Oh, wow. It's always very interesting watching these lines move up and down. I'm easily satisfied. It's
how many voters will you have?
It depends on whether we get 100% turnout. We'll have to see. I hope so. It'd be good to get 100%. So come on, guys. I need a few more of you. At the moment, the agreeers are running away with it. Those that agree with the motion are running away with it. So if you disagree with the motion, come on, guys, get on board. We're pretty nearly there. Come on, there's a few of you who haven't voted yet. I love the lurkers, the people that this is up in front of them, but they're hovering over both buttons or they've gone to make a cup of tea or something. But we're currently 78% participation, 82%. Come on, a few more. Let's see if we can get a 90% turnout. Put the best democracies in the world in shame. No, it looks like we're pretty much fixed on 82%. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. And then I'm going to close this poll. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's usually one last minute. No, there isn't. Okay, I'm going to end the poll. And now I'm going to share the results with you. Okay, you should see the results now, and it's a resounding 78% for the boys. I sound like University Challenge this, doesn't it? And 22% for the ladies. And so at the moment, it's Charlene and Shameen that have an uphill challenge, and Helmi and Peter are on the slippery slope.
Thank you, sir.
That's okay. Right, now I'm going to go to what I find is the very interesting bit, and this might change those votes. So remember, 78 and 22. I'm going to go to the participants and see if anyone's raised their hands. Oh, wow, everybody's a bit shy, I think, today. Peter, can you see any raised hands? I can't.
No, I can't see any.
Okay, so no raised hands at the moment.
Oh, one.
One. Oh, well done, Mohammed. Oh, you've disappeared. Where have you run away to? I've got you. Okay, I'm going to allow you to talk, Mohammed. Please say whether who you are, where you're speaking from. You've disappeared from my screen. Why? I've got you again. Where you're speaking from, and then in 10 sentences, please speak for or against the motion. And after you, I'm going to go to Mubarak Ali. So Mohammed, please.
Oh, first of all, I would like to thanks to everyone. I'm from Kazakhstan, and I am agree with you all. You're talking about you. University must know about English and teach English. It is a global language. And
I think we've lost you.
No. I have some problems with my computer connections.
No problem. Okay. Anything else you'd like to say, Mohammed, before I move to Mubarak?
No, not at all.
Thank you very much for your insight and input. And I'm now going to go to Mubarak. Mubarak, please say where you're from and whether you're speaking for or against the motion. It's now open for you, but I note that you're muted, so you need to unmute. Well done.
Good evening, one and all. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm Mubarak Ali from India. Thanks for the insightful talks. My question is very simple. English is knowledge or language? And I agree with Shami ma'am, and if it is possible, request your data point. The Nobel Laureate said no. So many persons have published for other languages. Request to share with us. I'm repeating the question. English is knowledge or language? Thanks a lot, and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mubarak. That's very good. We're still waiting for hands to go up. So while we're waiting for that, I'm going to just raise a couple of issues, current issues, which I think people might find stimulating. It's very interesting when Peter said that Taiwan is really promoting English, Vietnam really promoting English, whereas here in China, the opposite has just recently happened, where the mandatory subject of English, I think I'm right in saying this, in some of the mainland schools and other education institutes is being removed, a mandate to actually teach English. And also one other point that people might want to bear in mind, and it might stimulate some more hands to go up, is did you know that Indonesia, certainly up to 5 years ago, was the most populous English-speaking country in the world? Not the United Kingdom or the United States. It was actually Indonesia. Another very interesting point, which I think is still true, is that it's Spanish, which is the most widely spoken language in the world. And yet there are very few educational institutions or indeed journals that accept publications or study in English. Okay, I'm going back to the participant list and I'm looking for hands to go up. While we're doing that, maybe because, oh yes, Sukris, Sutiatno, I guess that's from Indonesia. I might be wrong. I'm handing the microphone over to you now. Please say where you're talking from. Hi, Sukris. You're muted at the moment, so you need to ask better.
Okay, thank you. I think English plays a very important role for higher education. But the problem there is that in Indonesia, English is a foreign languages. So as far as I know that most of students of PhD also face a problem in mastering English. And I think for international class, like what Pak Helmi said, that must be strict requirement for becoming PhD student. They must pass TOEFL at least 500. So I just suggest that most of universities should give more time for teaching English. As far as I know, most of universities give only to SKS, to credit semester. It is very limited time. So if we give more time for the student to be taught in English, I think it will be better. Thank you.
Terima kasih. Thank you, Sukris, for that comment. I think you make a very interesting point. Charlene's just raised a question, I think, that I need to put to the audience, and that is, how is the audience defining what it means for a university to be globally relevant? In other words, I'm asking the audience, can you be globally relevant if your mode of teaching and assessment is Spanish, or indeed Latin, or indeed any other language, Bahasa? So over to our participants. I'd be good to get a hand up here to get a response to that from someone. I see, Sukris, your hand's still up. Does that mean you want to speak again?
Pardon?
Your hand is still up. Do you want to speak again?
No, thank you.
That's all right, no problem. Anyone else from our audience, our participants, who would like to make a comment that hasn't been made so far, or to answer Charlene's challenge, which is, can you still be globally relevant if your their names are going up now. Maria, hi, good to see you back. Hi, Maria, I've handed over to you.
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
I'm from the Philippines.
Okay.
Just some of my thoughts. In today's era of globalized economy and internationalization of higher education, the world needs one unifying language across the globe. If spoken English become a handicap, we only deprive our students with a lot of opportunities across the globe. That's all.
Thank you, Maria. I think it's very interesting and very powerful coming from someone from the Philippines, where Spanish is also, I understand, fairly widely spoken. Is that correct?
The Spanish language now is not so much being spoken in the Philippines, perhaps in somewhere in the south, but I think 80% of the Filipinos are speaking English.
Yeah, and yet your name is very Spanish, Maria Soleda.
Yeah.
Okay, that's quite interesting.
Well, we were colonized by the Spaniards for 300 years.
I know.
That's why.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for that comment, which I think is actually very powerful, given Maria's name and her heritage. I think that's very, very interesting. So Charlene's thrown this challenge out. Nobody's yet come and argued on your side, Charlene. I'm going to do it for you, okay? I'm just going to make a comment that might provoke a few more hands to go in the air.
Hello.
Hello.
Mubarak here. I want to argue with, I want to defend the topic of Charlie, ma'am. Shall I go ahead, sir, please?
Please go ahead, Mubarak.
Thanks a lot, madam. Thanks for the opportunity and thanks to all to give my views. What I mean in the sense, whether language is a very important thing, whether it's a global language or regional language is not a matter. I'm from India. I'm from India, especially belongs to the place of Tamil Nadu, south of India, madam. Here, if you want to look at what the percentage of education of the students from primary level to higher secondary level to college level, as well as to talking about the post-graduation level. It means their PhD thesis related also, madam. What is important thing is, we need to know about the local languages and regional languages must, whether it might be an Indonesia, Japan, or Taiwan, or India. Their local languages is must. So how we in order to attain our soft skills, okay, the English is a very, very must language, madam. Okay, what I mean is, I'm just pointing language is a must. Knowing English is better. Okay, it's an important thing. Okay, so we can't able to avoid the English into the global scenario. I hope I just answered your query, madam. This is my point of view, and thanks for the opportunity.
Okay, thanks, Mubarak. Yeah, I think that's very interesting. I should, given those comments, give Charlene the opportunity to come back. So Charlene, I'm just going to throw it back to you for 10 sentence comeback.
I agree with Mubarak about the importance of the English language and how it can enable students and staff to collaborate and to connect. But when it comes to the impact of a university globally and what it gives back to the world, it's more, in my mind, about topics, subjects, science, and how you change the world for the better, how you impact on the problems collectively. And I don't believe you have to teach in English to be able to do that.
Okay, thank you, Charlene. There's a point that I've been wanting to make all the way through this debate. I speak English and French fluently and a reasonable standard of Italian. One of the things that I've noticed through speaking those languages and spending time in those countries, and I went to school in France for 2 years, is that I can express and think in a different way in each of those languages. So I find French much easier way of expressing my emotions, and I find English a much easier way of expressing my intellect. So I wonder, I'm going to get a bit philosophical here. We are often constrained, say scientists, by the hypothetico-deductive or even the inductive approaches to the way we discover things about ourselves and the world. Could it be, and this is for participants and panelists alike, could it be that we're constraining ourselves in terms of our ideas and expression by having one unifying language, when, as I've just explained to you, I can express myself emotionally far better in, say, French or Italian, Latin-based languages, than I can on a more Anglo-Saxon based English language. So I'm throwing that open to participants to see if any hands go up, but also to panelists. So panelists, any of you want to comment on that idea?
Maybe I will follow that because for medically, we happen to have two of our brain. Actually brain are two-sided, and we keep one-sided because that inherits all the messages from the mother. I mean, we happen to be being born still, even today, by father and mother. We still there. Right? I say we have two parts of this, and we have part of that is a personal feeling, the other is intellectual, and that's very important that we have keep some of our skills, which was born and which is express our feeling, our emotion, and the other is more rational. And I see that we keep that. I think people will keep that. So either you can pick up English, or you can pick up Russian as your second language or universal language. But I don't mean English is much better in this intellectual. I agree with the others. But for the moment, it's most prominent and most universal accepted.
Yeah, I think that's a very good sort of, you've sort of put a rational spin on the idea of that unification is as important as anything else. But I guess what I'm arguing is that diversification is as important as unification. And one of the things I hated most about being part of the European Union was that I could see a gradual erosion of the differences, the wonderful differences between the cultures and between the countries. So sometimes I'd be in France and for a few weeks, and then I'd go into a shopping mall and I'd look around and think, actually, I could be in London or Birmingham or somewhere in the UK, except for the fact that the culture was significantly different. The language was different. The background noise was different. Dare I say, the smell of garlic was different, but pleasurable nonetheless. So I guess what I'm saying is that, are we losing, I'm asking a question to participants and panelists alike, are we in danger of losing something very important if we lose different ways of thinking and feeling that come from a different language, using a different language?
Peter, I think, may I?
Yes, please do, Helmi.
Yeah, so I agree with, I understand what Dr. Charlene also, that we still should keep our culture, our mother tongue, yes. But in the end, that I think that the popularity of English is a consequence of globalization rather than simply being popular language as taught around the world. As you can see, the internet, which is contained in movies, TV shows, how easy the language is compared to many others is critical and in its success. So English, if you mention that you emotionally engage when you speak French, to whom? To French people. But again, if you want to connecting people, in my opinion, still English is still relevant and still need to be taught in university, even though we need to differentiate, we need to separate which level should be taught in English.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that's from my point of view.
Thank you, Helmi. I think very, very useful point. I'm going to give one last chance before going to the final vote. One last chance to our participants, see if anyone wants to put their hand up.
Kevin, I think Shamim wants to say something.
I'm sorry, Shamim. My little panel with all the participants on was right in front of your video. So go ahead, sorry.
No worry. Okay. But don't you think the local transmission of knowledge is equally important in one's own language, and that you reach your community better when you use your own language? And education in terms of, if we talk about using languages, is often an indicator of internationalization. It doesn't mean that English is the only indicator of internationalization. It can be French, it can be German, it can be Spanish, or even Mandarin Chinese, or Chinese, as you call it, as an indicator of internationalization. It's what you promote and what you push out internationally. If you talk about publication, lots of poems and literary works have been written in languages other than English, and that has made an impact on a lot of people. Look at Korean dramas. Look at a Spanish telenovela. Everybody in the world is looking at them. Everybody is watching this telenovela. Everybody is watching Korean movies and picking up Korean, picking up Spanish along the way. Isn't that internationalization?
All right, thank you, Shamim. Everyone except me, it seems, because I have no idea what you were talking about. But that's that's interesting nonetheless. Okay, guys, I'm going to launch the. Oh, hang on, I've got a comment here from Felix Avudufu. Sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. COVID-19 has taught the whole world we are actually one people, but in different location. You know, I think that's really very deep and meaningful thing to say, and we need to learn from each other. Teaching in English actually opens doors globally and should be encouraged in all universities. Nothing comes easy, but we can. Charlene immediately back with it opens doors, but does it make you more relevant? Which, you know, I kind of get it as well. So look, remember, we had 78% in favor of the motion at the beginning of this last bit of the debate and 22% against. And there was 18% of people didn't participate because they'd gone to make a cup of tea or something. Maybe those people can participate now. Let's see how open-minded you all are. I'm going to restart the poll. I'm just trying to look at, oh yeah, relaunch the poll right now. And you have around 55 seconds to vote. Oh, you've all started voting. Good people, well done. Ooh, it's changing. It's changing. I'm impressed. Remember, I said I don't believe that academics are open-minded. Maybe some of you are. Oh.
I'm looking at Charlene, actually. She looks happy.
Actually, while the poll's going on, don't you think it's interesting? I wonder what impact COVID will have on the use of English and other languages, given that many of us are now having to communicate in this way. Certainly for the time being. If it was to go on for a long time, it makes you wonder what impact it would have, given that there's clearly going to be a reduction in the number of international students to and from English-speaking countries. Very, yeah, just one of those things you ponder when you wake up late at night and have nothing else to think about. Okay, guys, I'm going to end the poll in 10 seconds. 5 seconds. Oh, more people, 86% have participated this time. I hope the cup of tea was worth missing that first vote. Okay, I'm going to end the poll now and I'm going to share the results because there's been a very interesting semi-victory because they've made up ground from 22% to 38%. To Charlene and Shamim. So well done. Very good indeed. Thank you. Round of applause. And I think also, there are no losers in this. We should also give a round of applause for Peter and Helmi, who came up on top. The motion is carried, but actually carried by a much more slender margin than the initial vote, which I think is very interesting in itself. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing that now. And you're now sick of my voice, so I'm going to hand back to Mandy Mock, who will address you in Singlish and tell you what happens next. Exactly. Mandy.
Yes, okay lah. Thank you everyone for the very interesting discussion. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I'd like to express my deep appreciation to our wonderful speakers and moderator for their time and contributions, and also thank you, our audience, for joining us for this Squaring the Circle debate. This is the 4th debate of the year, and while this marks the end of this particular webinar, we have many more events lined up in the months to come. The next Squaring the Circle debate is on the 3rd of November with the topic, Research is an essential aspect of all universities. Agree or disagree? Come join us in the debate on 3rd November. Please note that this will be our last debate for 2021, and we will be back in 2022 with a brand new season of Squaring the Circle debate. How time flies, 2021 is almost over, gosh. Our immediate next webinar is the session 4 of the Fireside Chat series. This is scheduled for 6th of October at the usual 8 p.m. time slot and organized in partnership with Education Insight UK. The 4th Fireside Chat of 2021 will pose the question, what does the post-pandemic new normal look like in higher education? As you can see, we have a webinar scheduled every other month with Squaring the Circle debate and the Fireside Chat alternating every other month on the first Wednesday of the month at 8 p.m. Singapore time, which is noon GMT. So please mark your calendars. Aside from webinars, Applied HE does a lot of other things as well. As of today, we have started our information campaign for the Applied HE Private University Ranking ASEAN. So if you would like to know more, please be sure to attend one of our information sessions or visit appliedhe.org/ranking-reg. We also launched the world's first composite world university ranking called the Rankometer in January of this year. This is a new ranking that is based on one single and transparent benchmark. To be precise, the Rankometer is a composite ranking of the world's 5 most influential world university rankings. Now, we all know that there has been a huge proliferation of university rankings in recent years. Students, parents, and employers simply don't know where to look for a reliable comparison of universities. With the Rankometer, we have solved that problem by providing a transparent and reliable measure of university quality. In addition to launching the Rankometer in January, we also launched Future, the world's first professional networking platform created specially for the higher education sector. And Future aims to connect everyone from high school to professional career to lifelong learning for the 3 E's: education, employment, and everything in between. These are the most important career milestones in life, from the moment you are a high school student to being a student in higher education, to being a successful graduate, employer, entrepreneur, or even an alumni donor. And all these stakeholders will be centered around institutions, industries, and our unique concept of the 22 employment clusters. We're constantly introducing new ideas into Future. We have plans in the pipeline for services like student recruitment, internships, research collaboration, and lifelong learning. And for now, we've just launched a new feature to help you with alumni engagement and management, something many universities are still not very strong in, and many institutions of higher learning in many parts of the world have long underestimated the value of their alumni network. And we all know that investing in alumni relations can provide a high return on investment for an institution. A strong alumni engagement strategy is not built overnight, but fortunately, we can help your institution get started. We recently launched our special alumni feature on Applied HE. Next on the list is an alumni relationship management system, which we're building now to help you manage your alumni more efficiently. In short, eventually Future will include the entire higher education and career experience from leaving high school to retirement. It's free, and it is the only professional networking platform you'll ever need. Simply go to Future and sign up as a user, and you can start connecting, engaging, and managing your alumni from near and far. If in doubt, please ask us for a demo. Extra, I've been mentioning this at every webinar that we've organized, and that is, we can promote your institution's news to your global target audience. So please send us your extraordinary news and press releases, or you can upload it yourself onto Future. It's yet another complimentary service from Applied HE, so do take advantage of it. And I'm pleased to say Applied HE now has 3 rating systems. They serve as benchmarks and marketing tools to your institution's quest for global branding and excellence. We have the all-round job-ready rating system to evaluate the quality of teaching and learning and employability of your graduates. The job-ready rating system aligns well with Industry 4.0 principles, including the Sustainable Development Goals and the EFQM Quality Management Framework, putting it in a class of its own among higher education evaluation systems. Organized around 22 employment clusters and hence spotlighting every program, the job-ready rating is the silver bullet that meets your institution's quality assurance and branding needs. We also have an English-ready rating to evaluate the quality of English language instruction in non-English speaking countries. It's also a great marketing tool for the recruitment of international students. And the online-ready rating, which helps your institution benchmark and promote its online programs and courses. So do reach out to us if you would like to learn more about how these tools can translate into affordable strategies for global branding and marketing of your institution. We're also delighted to announce our first round of English-ready rated institutions. A warm congratulations to Chang Christian University from Taiwan, TDMU from Vietnam, Universitas Christian Satya Wakana from Indonesia, Sogi Jara Nata Catholic University, also from Indonesia, for offering excellent English as a medium of instruction or EMI programs and being the first institutions in the world to be Applied HE English Ready rated. Do contact us if you'd like to have your institution's English language programs rated as well. I also mentioned Kevin's new book on rankings at the start of this webinar. So just to remind you, be sure to order it now from Google Books. And last but not least, as you know, we are the new kid on the block. We still are. And we're very grateful for all the support that we can get, which is why I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge all our very supportive partners. A big thank you for the valuable support given to Applied HE. My thanks very much, everyone, but please do not leave yet. We want to invite you to experience a networking atmosphere that is as creative and as close as we can get to a physical networking environment. So we're going to open the room for a few minutes so you can all see each other, say hi, introduce yourself, have a chat, and you can also leave your name and contact in the chat box or even a message of your intention. This is as much as we can do for now in the name of networking, so please turn on your cameras. Okay, over to you now, Peter, to get our social event started.
Just,
thank you very much, everyone.
Mandy, just like to say thank you to all our panelists and participants. And I just want to introduce you. Thanks, Mubarak. We can see you now. But I also want to say thank you to Becky, who's the manager of my office and has been exceptionally busy over the last few weeks. They're always exceptionally busy supporting my mistakes. Hi, Becky.
Hi, Becky.
It's lovely to have you join us. So thank you very much indeed. Okay, Peter, I'm sorry I stole your thunder. Off you go.
No, not at all. I'm always very happy to outsource, and I'm having no luck tonight with bells nor with promoting everybody to panelists. It's terrible. Yes, but thank you very much for joining, everybody. Do some of the audience members want to say hi, like Teya Schumann or Wang Ji, or hi, where are you guys joining us from?
Hi, good day. I'm joining from South Africa.
Oh, it's nice.
Oh, wow.
Excellent. Nice to
Very
hear
welcome,
you.
very welcome.
Hi, I'm Mubarak from India. What are my key takeaways now? Hello, hi, and to namaste, and to all. I'm Mubarak from India.
I'm Mubarak.
Yeah, sir. Assalamu alaikum to all. My key takeaway is no, I'm just learning liberal arts as well as to geopolitics, madam, from this session. Thanks a lot.
Excellent. Was that your kids I heard in the background?
Pardon, sir?
Was that your children I heard in the background earlier having fun?
Sir, I'm eligible bachelor, sir. I'm not yet married.
Well, hey, good luck. Here's my fingers crossed for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Muhammad. Muhammad Irfan.
Muhammad Irfan.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Muhammad.
I'm very inspired from your webinar. I'm very happy. I'm from Kazakhstan, and I'm higher education students. And I want to thanks to all of you giving me opportunity to take part in the webinar. I'm very happy.
Thank
Thanks
you.
to all. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution, Mohammed. It's very important, and it's lovely to see you join us from that beautiful country of yours. I've been there a few times. It's absolutely stunning.
Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure, and very happy to participate in this webinar. I hope next in futures we will be connecting to each other. I think so.
I hope so. I hope so. I hope we can do it physically. I can see that Ala and Wang Ji have been brave.
I would, sir, excuse me. I would like to see my child, little child. He wants to see.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Why not?
he wants to see. Okay, this is my little baby.
As his kids making noise.
Yeah. I blame him.
Not my kids. Not my kids.
Oh, so beautiful.
Oh, beautiful.
Very cute.
Oh, beautiful one.
Mohammed, don't be offended, but he must get his looks from his mother.
Yeah. It is
MashaAllah.
Yes. It is gift from God. At this age, I am so happy because my wife born 3 months ago.
Wow.
At this age, I'm 47-year-old.
Okay, so tell me, are you a modern man? Do you get up at night and do what's necessary? When the nappy needs changing, are you sharing that with your wife?
No, she is making a cook. That's why she is busy.
Ah, right. So, okay. All right. Wang Ji and Ala. Thank you very much, Mohammed. Wang Ji and Ala.
Thank you.
Hello,
thank you.
I'm from China. I'm in China now.
Hi, Wang Ji. Can you tell us a little bit about this news a few weeks ago that they're stopping teaching English in some Chinese or all Chinese schools? Is that true?
Oh no, we have not such kind of announcement in China. I am an English teacher in China. I have never heard of that. Just some policy about the primary school students. Some of the training outside the school is forbidden now. It's forbidden.
Okay.
Extend the study hours for the students in primary school.
So it was a bit of elaboration or fake news that I'd read, obviously, where they'd taken a fairly simple story and they turned it into something more complicated. Thank you for that clarification. Whereabouts in China are you speaking from? Which city?
Which part of China?
Which city?
I am in Chongqing. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, Chongqing, lovely. Very nice place. Been there a few times. Very nice. Yeah, oh, that's good. You look like you've got sunshine coming in, but it must be nighttime. I can't imagine it. Maybe your lights are very good.
It's night. It's night.
Yeah, same here, obviously. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Wang Ji. Nice to meet you and hear from you. Do you know what I'm struck by listening to everybody is how wonderful it is that there are different accents.
Yeah,
it's the same language, but there are different accents. Yeah, it's English.
Yeah.
But these are the variant, right? I mean, these are the English variant.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to hear Thea. Can you just say building for me? Because I had a PhD. Go on, say building for me.
Building.
Yeah, you see, I love it. I had a PhD student, and I used to drill him to say building, and he always said bolding. And that was Hannes. And I'd say, he's from South Africa, and I'd say, Hannes, building, bolding. And now whenever he contacts me, and we're still in contact, the first thing he says is, hello, Kevin, bolding.
Well, my experience from the UK is the further north you go, the less I could understand the English spoken, bus turns into bush. And I'm like, what is this bush you talking about?
You're in good company, because I don't understand it either. The further north you go. And when you get into Scotland, it's a whole new language. I just don't get it,
Now in South Africa, we've got 11 official languages. and each of my students bring along their own accent when they speak English. So I think I've got a good ear for English after years and years of teaching so diverse group of students. So it's actually quite exciting and nice, you know.
It's funny, I was in Northern Ireland, Belfast, a couple of years ago, visiting University of Ulster, and in the hotel when I arrived, just got off the plane, got to the hotel, and I was with a Chinese colleague. And I said, she was a colleague from another university, and I said, would you, shall we have some supper and then get some sleep before the next day's work? And she said, yeah, sure. And the Irish waiter came over, and he said something. And I asked him, I said, sorry, can you say that again? And he said, pure sort of side. And I said, sorry, can you say that again? And my Chinese speaking colleague stepped in and said, Kevin, he said, do you want sauce and salt and pepper? I honestly could not understand a word. And it took a native Chinese speaker to translate the Irish English to a point where I understood. Very, very, I think the whole issue of accents is lovely and adds to the richness of the world. Ala, I keep meaning to come to you and then we get into something else. Welcome and good to see you. Where are you speaking from?
Nice to see you. I hope you can hear me also.
Very well.
Very well.
So I think I am the most Nordic participant because I am from St. Petersburg, Polytechnic University, Russian Federation.
Oh, wow.
Lovely. I've got many friends there.
So come back to see your friends.
I'd like to. You won't let me in.
And if not, I just, first of all, thank you for the webinar, but I just wanted to comment that today you give as a contradiction, do we teach in English or in native language? And in fact, I don't think that it is a contradiction. I think that we have to do both. And for example, our university, we have about 300 programs, 26 master programs fully in English and a lot of short-term programs. And if not, our website is working in English, in Spanish, in Russian, and in Chinese.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the messages that came through from the debate, that there's room for both, or many more than both.
So the language, it is bilateral choice probably, but in any case, we have to be international.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. I think that's very important. And St. Petersburg is a stunning place, especially at this time of year. It's a cruel place in the winter, but stunning at this time of year. Do you get a lot of Finnish and Danish, maybe Latvian students studying in St. Petersburg?
We have a lot of relations with Finland, mostly because it is 300 kilometers from here by car.
Yeah.
And on the other side, we have Finnish students mostly on the short-term program, so mobility because of difference in academic calendar.
Yeah, that's
very But we have, for example, about 7 agreements on double degree, so we are working with.
Is that with Finnish universities?
With Finnish, altogether we have about 48, 50 double degree agreements, mostly with Europe and some with Chinese universities.
Yeah, I know you have a relationship with City University of Hong Kong as well, because through an old friend that used to work in Ekaterinburg at Ural Federal University, who came to work in St. Petersburg and never looked back. He loves it there.
So we invite everybody to cooperate.
Yeah, that's right.
Possible in English.
Becky, it's strange for me because Becky manages my council secretariat office very ably for me. Maybe tell people a little bit about where you're from and you know.
Yeah. Okay, I'm from Hong Kong. I think I love English. In fact, as Kevin said, I mean, Hong Kong people, we speak English with our Hong Kong accent. I don't know whether you you notice that or not. Maybe Kevin, you have been in Hong Kong for a long time, so I think you can tell us. I mean, or you can distinguish that I'm from Hong Kong and Mandy's from Singapore, because we got different accents.
You're harder than most, Becky, because your English is so good. I mean, when I check her written English that she's drafted things for me, I rarely find anything that I can change. So basically, I'm paid a lot of money for being useless. But I can tell a difference from what I would say is a less fluent Hong Konger in English, and say Wang Ji with the Mandarin or Putonghua accent, and Mandy's Singlish. There's a very significant difference. There's some similarities, because I've heard Hong Kongers say la after I don't know what for you guys in Northern Europe and elsewhere, you might not know that in Singapore they say things like, they say la.
Please la, please la, relax la.
Yeah,
that's from Malay, the Malay language.
Yeah.
You know, we have 4 languages here.
Malaysia, we say la for everything. Don't know, yes la, no la.
No la.
Yeah. So yeah, Becky, I think you're right. I can tell a difference normally between Hong Kong, Singapore, mainland, very, very definitely. It's not just that. I think sometimes languages shape our thinking too. And that was the point I was trying to get at. Languages do shape your thinking. And actually, my Russian friend from St. Petersburg is very strong on this. The first time I ever went to Russia, I stood in this Ural Federal University boardroom with the rector, who's a lovely man, and the vice rectors and everybody else. And I addressed them, and they were all quite large, I have to say, compared to me. And they looked so stern, and they looked so serious. And so I turned to Maria, who was Marina, the lady that was helping me. And I said, Marina, have I said something to upset them? Because they all look so stern and angry. And Victor, the rector, understood, and he started to laugh. And he said, no, Kevin, it's just our culture. We don't smile till we have vodka or something like this. But everybody was so stern looking, it was scary. Yeah. So I do think language informs behavior sometimes.
Yep, that's the same with Japan. They don't start to talk or laugh until they have their sake and the beer.
But language, the way you think.
So the beer and the wine is a language too?
No, it's called Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, that the language you have helps you, shapes your thinking. So for example, if you're an Eskimo, an Inuit, and you don't have another language, they have something like 27 different words for what we call snow. You know, we say wet snow, dry snow, slush. They have distinct words that it's not snow, it's something. There are 27 different things that we call snow. And if you want to read about this, Sapir, S-A-P-I-R, Whorf, W-H-O-R-F, it's a linguistic hypothesis. Many of you will know about it anyway, that language shapes your thinking. That's what you were getting at, Shamin, because I know you're familiar with it.
If I can interject, we're running half an hour overtime, which is absolutely lovely, but I think some people need to go. So I will just, for old time's sake, bell one more time, and perhaps if you allow me to wrap it up then. And we hope to see you for the social at the next event in a month's time.
Lovely to see you.
This is the best social, the longest ever. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you tomorrow, Becky. Bye. Bye.